All right, so it's been about at least 6 years since I came on here. I made a video even about the Civil Air Patrol. So I want to come on here, right, 6 years down the line and let you know, those young people out there, if it's really worth joining the Civil Air Patrol. So I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with the Civil Air Patrol, as well as I'll go into looking back now, if I think it was worth it or not. So I found the Civil Air Patrol when I was in eighth grade, and I found it through a mutual or a friend of mine, right? And I kind of got brought into it through him. And I was just looking for something that was military related. I'd always been attracted to the military from a very young age. And so that's what Civil Air Patrol provided me with, right? I was more into I would say, like, the emergency services and things like that. And then I was some of the other stuff like robotics or whatever other things that the Civil Air Patrol has to offer, right? And I was able to fulfill that want to do something like that, right? I was very super into like drill. I was very naturally gifted at it. I did color guard, and that lasted for a couple years. Where I started in eighth grade, and maybe it was seventh grade. Whatever like the youngest age is when I started, which I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it could be 12 years old. So start young, and then I get to high school and I start doing it less and less throughout freshman year. I went to encampment going into my freshman year, and then I kind of just slowly, as life became more busy, kind of just stepped away from it for a while. And then, but I had done it for at least more than like 2 or 3 years. I had gone up the ranks, was the first squad or the first sergeant of my squadron or whatever. And then once I got to my senior year of high school, that's when I decided I was going to join the Marine Corps. And we'll get a little bit into that later in this episode. But so I took a hiatus from it for a couple years while I was in high school, and then kind of went back my senior year after I decided that I want to join the Marine Corps. Spent a little time there on and off, made it when I could again. Life was just still just so busy, and the Civil Patrol wasn't a priority for me anymore. It had kind of already served its purpose. But that brings us into the main reason why I would go back and I would still do the Civil Air Patrol. And if you're out there and you have aspirations to join the military, especially even the Air Force, I would say you should check out Civil Air Patrol and at least try it out, right? Because one, if you do it for more than 2 years, you get contract PFC, and that'll help you out a lot. And I believe that's for any branch. I know that goes for the Marine Corps. I know that goes for the Air Force, and I'm assuming the Army, the Navy, and all the other branches. And it just helps you out a lot in your career progression, right? Because instead of coming in as a private with everybody else, now you get to come in as a PFC with everybody else as a private. And at that time, it doesn't seem like too much of a difference. But then once you start looking at like time and service, time and grade requirements for the next ranks, you see that, oh, I'm 6, 9 months ahead of everybody else, because now my time and grade to get to Lance Corporal or whatever that next rank may be, depending on whatever branch you want to join, I'm 6 months ahead now of everybody else that I joined. And those 6 months, again, it might not seem like a lot, but it is, because then it starts to add up as you progress in the ranks. So I would say if you're looking to join military service, that's a good way to get yourself ahead of everybody else that you're joining with. As well as, right, let's be honest, the Civil Air Patrol, it's not the military. It doesn't come close to anything like that. It doesn't try and emulate the military, and it shouldn't, right? But it still teaches you the basic structure of how the military works, right? It teaches you the rank structure, right? How there's kind of a hierarchy to it. It teaches you common customs and courtesies, right? Things like the proper greeting, when to salute, right? They follow the same the same way that you would salute in the military is the same way that you'd salute Civil Air Patrol. Same thing with like wearing your cover. Like that's a lot of things that people come into the military and maybe it takes them a while or they don't understand how all that works, right? They don't know when to salute. They don't know when to take their cover off, when to put their cover on. But if you do something like the Civil Air Patrol, you already have that very basic background of it. And you're able to carry it over, whether that's into the Air Force, right? And listen, I don't know, I'm not the subject matter expert on the Air Force, but from what I could tell, right, the Civil Air Patrol is the U.S. Air Force Auxiliary. So it's going to most resemble the Air Force. So I really want to emphasize that if you're looking to join the Air Force specifically, I would seriously consider doing Civil Air Patrol before you go. Not to be like, here's a taste of what it's like, because I think that would be a complete wrong reason to do it. But I think it just gets you prepared in those basics, right? And it just, you'll go into boot camp, you'll go into your early stages of your military career with already like, okay, I know when to say good afternoon, ma'am, or whatever it may. I know when to salute and when not to salute. And it just makes it so that now you don't have to think about those things. So now you can focus on their other things when you actually join the military, right? It's not the military. It's not necessarily going to get you ready for the military, but it'll give you some sort of simple understanding, right? As well as the drill. And that's my next point. During every boot camp, from my understanding, you're going to do some type of drill. Now, if you join the Marine Corps, it's going to be different than the Air Force drill. And the Civil Air Patrol does the Air Force drill. So back to my point, if you want to join the Air Force, especially, the Civil Air Patrol drill will get you ready for the air because it's the same exact thing, right? In the Marine Corps, it's a little different, but still at the same time, you're getting that basic understanding of close quarter drill. Although it's a little bit different, a lot of it is the same, and the whole purpose and the goal behind it is all the same, right? So you'll have that basic understanding going into it. Another thing too is it'll kind of, at least for myself, it got me out of my shell a little bit, right? I think I really got out of my shell when I joined the Marine Corps, but Civil Patrol was allowed me to kind of get a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to actually come out of my shell. I was a very shy kid. Civil Patrol was somewhere where I could come in and kind of break out of that shell because I felt comfortable. I felt like this is where I was supposed to be. So, I mean, yeah, it just, like I said, it's not going to do the things that the military can, but it'll one, get you ready for it, or two, give you a very basic understanding of some of the basics, right? It'll give you a basic understanding of the basics. It's not really going to prepare you for what military life is, but it could give you a little bit of a jump start. So to answer the question, would I go back and join the Civil Air Patrol? 1000%. Anybody out there who the Civil Air Patrol piques your interest, I would 100% say at least give it a shot, right? You might not have to join it, but at least go to a meeting, go try it out, look into it for yourself, especially if you have aspirations to join the military, because it'll only benefit you, right? There's no downside to doing it. There's no, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this because of this. Right? I wish I didn't join the Civil Air Patrol because it came back to bite me in the ass later. Because there is just no downside. So there's only a net positive from joining the Civil Air Patrol. So if you're out there, you're thinking about joining the military or you want to do something like the Civil Air Patrol, go do it. But check out my old videos. You know, I know they're super old, but it'll give you some more insight. It'll give you some more specifics. If there's any videos that you personally want to see, let me know down in the comments section below. It could be about anything. I think I'm going to make a video on why I joined the Marine Corps, what's the process like of joining the Marine Corps, things like that. Overall, things that'll help young men and women out, military related. I could do some Civil Air Patrol videos for you guys if that's what you want. I also have a podcast called Manhood Understood. I'll put a link for it in the description. Go check it out. All your support would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, if you have any interest in joining the military, check out the Civil Air Patrol. Till next time.